What is up, parents, teachers, and therapists out there? I am here today with Debbie Steinberg Kuntz. What's up, Debbie?
Hey Seth, how you doing?
Good. We're going to talk about screen time and mental health. And Debbie has been running a Bright and Quirky Summit, a different summit for years, but is now doing a screen time and mental health summit, which is coming up. And this is such a big topic. So what we're going to talk about here today is Debbie and I have known each other for a long time. We want to, on today's vlog, give you very, very, very practical, implementable, actionable strategies that you can use to help your kids with this really complicated issue. So I've got two of my own, and then Debbie's got a few. So Debbie, we'll chat. Let me show them. This is the summit here. This is you've got some. You were telling me that the way that you decided on how you chose your speakers this year. Can you tell us that? Because I thought that was really.
Yeah, so we surveyed our audience. We got over 700 responses and we asked, what's your number one issue with screens and mental health? And the number one thing was difficulty getting off screens. So that's day number one, how to get your kids off of screens. And I just want to say up front, um, goal here is not to get off screens 100%. I mean, tech is here to stay. It brings wonderful things to our life. Having a healthy digital life is all about making choices that add to your well-being and don't subtract from your well-being. So I guess that's my first tip, to raise self-awareness to when you are using screens, when your kids are using screens, to say, is this adding to feeling good? Am I connecting with friends? Am I learning something? Or did I just go down a YouTube rabbit hole for 3 hours and I feel like a blob on the couch and I don't want to do that again. So self-awareness is the first step.
Right on. And I guess, how do you do self-awareness like that?
Okay. If parents want to take out a piece of scrap paper, I've got a really quick, fun way to do this. We're going to do a little graph with a y-axis and an x-axis. So on your y-axis, put at the top, adds to my well-being. At the bottom, put subtracts from my well-being. And then on your x-axis, you're going to put, I use it infrequently and I use it frequently. Then, okay, let's think of something that you do online, like social media. Um, let's take a, I don't know, 13-year-old girl. She might use it very frequently, and maybe it like kind of adds to her well-being, but maybe not totally. So she'd plot it here and put, Snapchat or TikTok or whatever it is. And then take the next thing, YouTube. And that's a really nice, quick and easy way to plot all the things you're doing online. Video games that you play alone, video games that you play with other people, video chatting with the grandparents, certain games, certain YouTube videos. And how do you feel after 30 minutes or 60 minutes versus after the third or the fourth hour? Things like this in Seth's world, in my world, how do you feel after you're learning? And make this a family activity. Get a pizza, make some ice cream sundaes and say, guys, we're just going to go around the family and make your little graph and let's talk about it. And when you raise self-awareness like that, kids can start noticing how they're feeling. I also interviewed a bunch of kids and teens for the summit. And one said to me, she said, I was looking at some stuff. And what happens is our brains are getting hacked, and there's algorithms that say, if you looked at one thing, I'm going to show you other things that a lot of people also like. And she said, when I'm in a dark mood, I tend to look at dark things. And then to keep you hooked, it gets darker and darker. She said, then I felt really icky about it, but I didn't know how to put it into words and I didn't know who I could talk to about it. So those are the kinds of things we're going to talk about in the summit. But that little graph is a really practical place to start.
I love that. And I like that you also mentioned to look at the type of content in the platform. For example, like if I'm watching YouTube videos on guitars, that's a different type of engagement. Usually I have the guitar out, I'm going back and forth. I'm not like down some weird rabbit hole where I'm like stuck, and if I'm watching something on the brain, I might be really trying to learn something. But if I watch something like news, it's such a different vibe. So I like that help kids think through like different types of content within a platform, not just the platform, because there are things that can contribute and things that can not contribute or take away. And I also think that's a great activity, and that's a good one depending on the age of your kid. But for parents to sort of like draw it out for themselves first, and of course, as we know, Debbie, like modeling for your kids is one of the best things we can do. Modeling certain behaviors and stuff, but in this case, modeling how we did it, and there's no shame in it, and saying, "Oh, I do this, and I like how I, consume this type of content, but this type, it's not good." To be very honest and upfront. If you want your kid to be really honest and upfront with you, like model that with them. So
Was actually one of the themes that came out of the summit was what a couple of speakers called parental hypocrisy, that, do as I say, not
yeah,
as I do. And that was a huge aha for me, is taking a really good look at my own screen use, because I think our society really um, celebrates productivity and ambition, but kids don't know that when we're working or when we're watching, guitar videos or doing something else. So I think, especially with remote working, many of us have felt permission to do a lot of work, especially if we have teenagers, kids who don't need that, active one-on-one time throughout the day. And I'm doing a big cleanup of my own screen time as a result of this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you and I both are on a lot. I mean, I am a lot because of the work that I do, and I think one of the concerns that I have about kids is that they grew up being digital natives. We did not. So I have a point of reference to say, wow, I was just like if I interview three people in a day and I'm on, and I have a light in front of me, right? Like it's in my face, and I'm on that for like, let's say 4 or 5 hours a day doing these interviews, and I'm like really paying, like I feel so I have got to get outside and go for a long walk or hike or work out. I can tell the difference in my mental health. And my concern for kids is that they've grown up with this and it's so normalized, and so they don't know that it's not normal.
Yeah, we've got Dr. Michael Rich in the summit. He's a Harvard professor, also the director of the Digital Wellness Lab at Boston Children's Hospital. He said childhood as we know it is changing. And that connects right to what you're saying, and kids don't necessarily know what meaning to make when I feel that saturation, when I feel that, but oh, I need exercise, I need movement, I need fresh air. They might just get more and more frustrated and take it out at whoever, they're playing the video game with. It's like, but if we're having these conversations as a family, we could say, oh, I see what's happening. I am noticing. And this is moving into another theme that a number of our experts talked about, which is being a coach and a mentor, not being the bad cop. So you could say, hey, I notice that your voice is rising. You seem not to be enjoying, not to be in the green zone of well being. Would you like to take a break? Would you like me to set your timer? What would you like to do next? So we start having these conversations about well-being and planning out next steps. And there's a whole piece that we talk about, especially in day 5, of having true fun. Uh, there's so many onions to peel here, Seth, but the way that online is hacking our brain like a slot machine, making our dopamine spike, and it's very, very hooking. And we think, because we start craving more and more, we think by having more that will make us feel better, but it doesn't. Just like gambling, just like alcohol, we need to have a plan ahead of time for what we're going to do off screen as well.
I like that. And with executive function, one of the big things is planning. And I work with a lot of kids and really looking at how they plan their all their time during the day. Where does that time go? And we need time for social. We need time for mental health. We need time for daydreaming, for being bored, for connecting with other people, for laughter, for movement. So, and then I had actually three quick strategies I want to pop in somewhere. I'll do one right now, and let's ping pong a little bit. So, one of mine that I want to mention, this is a great one to model, but this is leaving your phone at home. So, a lot of times I'll leave my phone at home, or when I go to the gym, I'll leave my phone in the car. I just don't like to take it with me. I don't, and I turn all my alerts off on my phone except for the ones I need. So, usually it's phone and text, but I get no email alerts, no nothing, because I notice what it does to my brain, and I just for years haven't had alerts. So I leave it so that there's no temptation, because I don't like being on a walk around the block or something and noticing that I want to check it. So not having it there helps. That I do not want to be a slave to this thing. Yeah. So what's one of the ones, another one, maybe one of the speakers that comes to mind, that one of their strategies you
Or
liked?
who said this, but maybe it was Mona Delahooke, but so many kids, especially in our population, our bright and quirky neurodivergent population, use phones as a stress reducer, as a self-regulator. And I've talked to lots of people on the autistic spectrum. That's a big one for them. And really all of us, I think, turn to some sort of media as a stress reducer. I think if you are feeling or your child's feeling dysregulated and wants to go on screens for a little change of scenery, decide in advance how long will you be on to help with that. You know, I think I need 30 minutes and I'm going to set a timer. And after 30 minutes, I'm going to go do something else. So decide the time before you get on. Otherwise, there's so many rabbit holes you could go on. And someone said, I love to go to Sports Center and hear all the latest scores. But why am I, and they do a loop, but why am I staying on for the second loop and the third loop? So planning your time in advance, a little executive function trick.
I like that. I like that. Um, so one of the ones, I think I got this from Cal Newport. I don't know if you're familiar with Cal Newport, but talks about maybe both of these are from him. I'll mention both of them. One is the digital sundown, one's the digital Sabbath. The digital Sabbath is this idea that the family can do this together. Take a day, a half day, an hour, a dinner time every day. It can be once a week. It can be every single night at dinner, every single night from this time. But it's this idea of a digital Sabbath, which is this time where there just everything's off. It just does not exist in your world for that day or that half day or that hour or whatever. So that is, I think, a really implementable and easy one, and similar to what I do when I don't take my phone with me. And then the other one is the digital shutdown or sundown. And so this is something that
Sabbath,
I do. What's that?
the digital Sabbath.
Digital Sabbath is the day or the half day or
Mm,
the taking a break from it. The
okay.
digital sundown is at night. Like, I don't charge phones or computers or anything in my bedroom. Don't have a TV in the bedroom. Like, it's just for sleep. That's it. It's for rest, because the brain will associate that this is a place to get activated and be into the electronics. So, and then I also do a hard shutdown on my computer and phone every night. So,
Mm,
and then, so like, I don't have the problem of reaching for it first thing in the morning because it's not there.
mhm.
So it's not super easy. It has to be restarted. And so that's I think been just really helpful for me. I don't like. I'm not. It's funny. I've like a business online, but I don't like being on screens.
Yeah, I hear you. I
I
hear
love what
you.
I do and the ability to communicate this way, but it's just. So you want to leave us with one more that stands out, one big theme
Yeah,
or
I
big
think
idea?
it's related to what you were just talking about, the digital Sabbath and shutdown. On day 5, we really explore the science of online and offline well-being, particularly the interviews with Catherine Price and Mike Rucker. What Catherine says is, when is the last time you had true fun, especially as a family? And when she thinks of fun, and she goes into a lot of depth with this, usually you're doing something active, usually you are connecting with other people, and usually you are in a sense of flow. So if we think about that, and we are going to shut screens off, because one of the other main findings in our survey was that when people do shut their screens off, especially kids and teens, they don't know what to do with themselves. So we really have to explore this idea of fun. So we have a list ready and waiting. And when people come to the summit, I'm sure you'll give them the link. We have some bonuses if they go with the access pass, and one is a screen free activity list. And we've got a whole bunch of stuff there. But really think a little bit broader about screen time and mental health to what is not happening, what is being crowded out. And one of those things is true fun. So, really, to get the full reset for digital well being, we need to think about what we're also doing offline very intentionally.
I'm so glad you said that because that really relates to the with like the digital Sabbath in particular. Like, it's not just to get away from that, but it's to have time to connect, to be together, to do things together, to be a family, to not miss their childhood that goes by so fast, and really be present and have great conversations, have difficult conversations, laugh, have fun, play, not be so worried about grades and homework and all this stuff all the time. Cool, Debbie. Well, let me show that this is the summit one more time. If y'all want to check this out, I'll put a link down below. And you can sign up here. And this starts Monday, May 15th, 2023.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
if you're listening to it on Sunday.
So it's the summit is free, and then there's the all access pass if you want to buy the package. But definitely hit up that free part and check out the experts. These are a lot of the just awesome people in the community that do good work for kids. So thanks so much, Debbie. Any last words that you want to say?
I think the thought I would just leave you with is that we have so much technology in our lives, and this is a real opportunity to hear from the top experts in technology, mental health, and child development what truly matters. It's such a good investment of your time because as a person with her last child graduating high school very shortly, it's like, wow, that went fast. And I don't want you to have any regrets. I really want you to think intentionally about how you're using your family time. And this is an opportunity this whole week, the summit's running, to really say, how do I want to do this? We are in uh, a new chapter of our lives. We're coming out of the pandemic, and you have a real opportunity to have digital well-being as a family. So I hope you take that opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks, Debbie, so much. Thanks for everything you do for the community.
Thank you,
Debbie's
Seth.
a
It's so
special
fun to
person. So,
do this with you. You too. Thank you.
oh, I don't even think I said who I am. I'm Seth Perler, SethPerler.com, y'all. You can check out my site if you want some executive function tips. Take care, everybody.